Hi, friends. This is 5 Minutes to Make Sense of the Bible. I'm Joe Hopkins. Today we focus on chapter 21, verses 1 through 6 in the book of Revelation. Yes, that book of Revelation, probably the most confusing and controversial book in the whole Christian Bible. But maybe not necessarily these verses. Let's dive into the context and content of this Bible passage, and then we'll reflect with some questions. So the book of Revelation is the final book of the Christian Bible. The narrator calls himself John, and he says that he was on the island of Patmos, which is close to Greece, when he received a series of visions and messages from Jesus Christ in heaven. The messages are for several churches in what is now Western Turkey, and they make up chapters 2 and 3. The visions that make up the rest of Revelation are wild, to put it mildly. Basically, chapters 4 through 20 take a heaven's eye view of cosmic battles between good and evil and God's wrathful judgment of the sinful world. The scenes are truly apocalyptic, which is actually another name for the book, the apocalypse. For thousands of years, people have debated how to interpret these wild visions. Some people say that the visions are allegories for wild things that were happening in the Roman Empire in the 1st and 2nd centuries AD. From that perspective, the book of Revelation would kind of be like an ancient version of George Orwell's books 1984 and Animal Farm. Other people say that the visions predict events that haven't happened yet, but will occur sometime in the future. Some folks have gone so far as to make direct connections between current events of their time and the visions of Revelation. For instance, that Napoleon Bonaparte was the Antichrist, only for human history to continue to unfold century after century. However, the really important part of the book of Revelation is the identity of the true ruler of the universe, God and Jesus Christ. And in chapter 21, John shares the vision of God's new creation following God's final defeat of evil. The old sinful world has passed away, and God's new world, capped by a new Jerusalem, takes its place. In that new creation, God's self, pitches a tent to live with God's creatures. And there will be no more pain or loss because God has finished God's cosmic project of salvation. That's a lot to take in. So here are a couple questions for reflection. First, what images come to your mind when you think of the book of Revelation? Are these images actually from the Bible, or are they from works of fiction? Next, do you think the visions of Revelation creatively depict events of the past, or predict things of the future, or maybe do a mix of both? What makes you think that way? Finally, do you trust God to defeat cosmic evil and remake the world into something without pain or sadness? If not, how do you think this world will come to an end? So there, 5 minutes to make sense of the Bible. I usually preach sermons at Streetsville United Church based on the Bible readings that I talk about here, though this coming Sunday, a guest preacher will do so. Anyway, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more of our videos. And as you read the Bible by yourself, pay attention to what piques your curiosity. The Spirit often tries to catch our attention through our curiosity. And as always, while it's good to read the Bible by ourselves, we make the most sense of the Bible when we read the Bible together. Peace, friends.